Okay, Susan, let me show you a different way in order to make this a lot easier than what you had done yourself in order to open up these different elements. So what you did is you put in a button, and then when you said when the button is clicked, then you had written out a whole bunch of HTML code that you have show up in here once the button is clicked. And of course, you triggered all of this using some JavaScript code. So let's just take a look into what you did. We're going to click on Inspect, and we're going to open all of that up. So for each one of those elements, you went in, and I got to give you a lot of credit. You wrote a lot of code here, and you did a good job on it. But unfortunately, none of it was necessary at all. I'll show you. I think my code is 3 lines long to do exactly what you just did. So here you got your JavaScript code right here between these two script tags. And again, when you click on the element, what it does is it opens up the elements in there, and then you did all of the HTML above it, but you unfortunately did it for every single one of these elements. And so let me show you a real quick, dirty, easy workaround, and frankly, the best way to do this inside of ClickFunnels. So we're going to go into a little thing I'm working on here, and so let's just go in and open up a couple of rows that I made. And so this entire template consists of 4 rows. So I have 1 row for the button, and instead of button, you could actually just do this with a headline element as well, which might make it a little bit easier to format it by using the, it's actually less CSS that you're going to have to do, because you can make this a headline element and then just tell it to float the text to the left. You can put in a background, you can square off the corners. It'd be a lot easier just to do this as a headline, but you did it as a button, so we'll show it that way. Then I created a second row, and I put the content into it. So let's take a look at that. So all I did again here, 1 row, second row, this is the section itself. So I just made it a little bit narrower just to set it off like yours was. And again, this isn't perfect. This isn't perfect CSS. I just threw this together. So what I did here then is, so on this second row, you can then put in any elements you want. I just dropped in a paragraph element and styled it a little bit like you did. But in here, instead of this, you could just add in another element down here at the bottom. And we're just going to say we're going to do a bullet list, because you had a bullet list in there, and then you would put in your bullets and format it the way you wanted. And then you would just do some text above and a text element below. So again, you can format this any way you want. You can put images in here, anything that you wanted to do. And then all you have to do, let me show you what you got to do to get this set up. And we're working just in the rows to do the setup to make this work with the JavaScript. Is we're going to say on this first section, or I'm sorry, this first row, I'm going to come down and I'm going to name that row button 1. Okay, because what we're going to say is when somebody clicks on the button, then run the code. And again, you could make this out of a headline element, and then you just call this headline 1 just to keep things straight. And then for the second row, we're going to call this, then we're going to call this content 1. Type that in, hit update, you're good to go. And so we'll go back into our rows and see what we have. We have button 1, content 1, button 2, content 2, and you see them highlighting it as I hover over it. And so now the next thing we want to do is we want to hide both of the content elements. So we hide them so that what the JavaScript code is going to do now is when we click on the button, it's going to open up the content below it. So if we click on button 1, it'll open up content 1. If we click on button 1 again, it will close content 1. So let me show you the working of this. It's quite simple. We click on it and we just toggle it open and close. And the same thing with the second one, toggle it open and close. Here I put in a little bit of coloring and background. Here I didn't do anything, but you get the idea of what you can do. And really the possibilities are limitless, and it takes no coding. You just do the whole thing right inside of ClickFunnels. Now let me just show you the simplest code in the entire world in order to make this work. We're going to go into our tracking code and our footer tracking code. And here is the entirety of the script that you need. You just tell it that when anybody clicks on any element with the word button in it, that all it has to do is it has to toggle that element, or I'm sorry, toggle the next element. So you click on button and it's going to toggle the content element that's sitting right below it. And that is it. That's all it took in order to do this. And you built everything right inside of ClickFunnels, which is going to be a lot easier for you because now you can come back in and you can open up one of these. You could have pictures in here. You could have any element you want inside of ClickFunnels. You could have videos running. You could have audio running. You could add anything you want and just add it all in here, and it's all done natively inside of ClickFunnels. So if you got any other questions on this, feel free to reach out to me. Have a great day.